Yeah, that is one of my favorite songs these days. And this song really makes so much sense for me, owing to the experience that I've had, since I came into public life, and my association with some of these people. I tell you, many times we think that a lot of people have our interests. Unfortunately, many people don't have our interests. Many times people just want to use us. They just want to use us. And I'm not just saying this because of the PF. No, I'm speaking in general. If you see people taking interest in you, you should ask yourself, why are they taking interest in me? Why are they taking interest in me? Many times people really are not there to help us. They are there to just use us. They come pretending like, no, I'm your friend. No, I care for you. No, I'm just doing this and blah, blah, and blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if you analyze critically, you will see that most of the times they come to save their interests. They come into your life because they are interested in something that they have seen in you. Otherwise, they would not bother about you. And for those of us who are actually poor, you can associate with the rich, but you will never be part of the rich. You can associate yourself with the rich, with those with money, but you will never be part of them. People who are rich, people who have money, they have their own cliques. They form cliques and they insulate themselves, amongst themselves. So you just be there, around them and everything, but really, at the end of the day, they know who belongs or who is part of their clique. For you, you just be there as somebody that they would be able to use. And unfortunately, when they are using you like that, they don't want you to go up. They don't want you to go up. You find that among themselves, they actually even able to help each other. This one is doing a business, or is has got this business. They're able to loan each other big monies, give each other contracts, give each other big businesses. But you who does not belong, who is not among them, they will never give you the kind of business that they are having. They will never even put you to be part of their business. They will never. Me, I saw it, especially with my PF. I saw it. Me, you can say whatever it is. I never got not even one contract. I've never gotten not even one contract. I've never. The business that I've been doing with the PF or with the government, it was all through other people, not me getting business. Not that I wanted it. Not that I wanted it. But that is just what it is. Anyway, let me move away from that. And I want to, before I just move on, I want to tell all those who are thinking, who keep saying, you are going to suffer, you are going to suffer. That's why I like this song. Because a lot of you in PF especially, you are praying that things hit me hard so that I struggle and I come kneeling, begging from you. That's what you want. That's what you want. You are praying that one day, this thing should hammer him and then he should come crawling, begging from you. I'm not going to do that. That I'm not going to do. So all those of you who are saying, no, you're going to suffer. I was actually very upset with somebody I met, at one of these malls. No, just come back to PF, especially that now you even have a family. Nonsense. Who told you that my family can only be sustained if I belong to the PF family? No. But PF tevalesa iyo. Tevalesa. There is a God up there. There is a God up there. And when I was growing up, I've come to know PF now. When I was already an adult. How did I survive all the hard times that I had in the past? So why should you start telling me to say, no, no, you will suffer because you have taken away, you have detached yourself from PF? No, no. I'm telling you, muli bantu fena imwe bene bonse kulingana fena balungu. Muli bantu fye, you are just human beings, and whatever you have, it's because God has allowed you to have them. And if God has allowed you to have whatever you have, even power, even presidency, if God has allowed President Edgar Lungu to be in State House, he can allow any other person to be there. So for me, I don't have that mentality of worshipping anyone. No. Anyway, I started it on a very high note. Let me bring it down. Let me talk like a reasonable person, because what I want to talk about is very, very important. I'm starting with the issue of the sad story that has developed, where two inmates who have been, a report is that two inmates at the moment, two inmates managed to kill 9 women, raped and killed 9 women. This story is not new to me. This story came to me much earlier, where some relatives inboxed me and complained that their relatives were called to Mukobeko, and when they went to Mukobeko, they never returned, and they have been looking for them. And they complained that they have been going to the police, and the police don't seem to be helpful. So I didn't want to alarm the situation. I didn't want to alarm the situation because certain things, when they come into your hands, you have to be responsible in the way that you handle such issues. So whatever message I was receiving, I was forwarding it to the police until today, when this news has come up. And I've spoken to 2 families that contacted me. The 2 families in the Copper Belt that whose bodies have been exhumed, they are actually one of those people that had contacted me, and they confirmed. I spoke to them. They confirmed that yes, their relatives were killed. The one is a lady called Bana Demzi, and then the other lady who was killed together with a child. Really a very sad situation. These people had gotten in contact with me, and I was trying to communicate with the police. It's really, really sad. And I was going through to say, what could I have done? Is what I did okay? Or maybe I could have done something better. I don't know, but really, I think that certain information, some of you think that whatever I get, I bring it to social media. No, certain things I don't bring them to social media because they are sensitive. Even this issue, I didn't want to talk about it, but just because somebody, asked me that no, I should talk about it. And the big question that I have is, because the information at the moment is not very clear, but I'm just wondering how prison inmates manage to kill people who are outside, luring them from wherever they were to bring them into Kabwe, and killing them in Kabwe, and burying them in the gardens of Mukobeko prison. This beats all reason. I mean, honestly, who can ever think that inmates would commit such heinous crimes in the prison premises? I don't understand. I just don't understand. I can't believe it. It was very, very difficult. It's how prison inmates And then on top of that, how can a prisoner escape the maximum prison that we have? Mukobeko is the maximum prison. How did this man escape and ended up killing an innocent young girl of 18 years old? How? I just can't understand. I can't understand. I'm not trying to be political. But surely, you know, I can give an example of Panganda. If Panganda, the head of the house, is careless, if Panganda, the head of the house, is careless and preoccupies himself in trivial matters, or preoccupies himself in just looking for money and enjoying himself, believe you me, in that house you will have indiscipline, you will have recklessness in that house. And from my point of view, that from the family point of view, I can bring it to the nation. When our leaders are preoccupied with making money and consolidating their power, they do neglect a lot of other issues. Like they say in English, when the cat is not around, rats just fly all over. They are everywhere. When the leadership is not focused in leading the people, in leading the country, when they are preoccupied in corruption, in making money, and busy distributing this money so that they can consolidate their power, this is what you get. Things that you can't think, you can't imagine start happening in the country. They start happening. I'm not just being political. This is real. In a country where a leader is firm, where a leader is in control of the country, of what is happening, it's rare that you would have 9 lives being killed at a maximum prison. In this country, you even wonder, where is the intelligence? Because I'm sure this news is actually news even to President Edgar Lungu. I'm sure we are hearing of this together now, President Edgar Lungu. But if indeed President Edgar Lungu is effective and is up to the job, he would have known about this and issued strict instructions to make sure that this thing stops. But I am very sure President Edgar Lungu is hearing of this, even him is hearing of this today. But if he had an effective intelligence, like the one Vakaunda had, or like the one FTJ had, he would have known about this and he would have issued strict instructions to make sure that this situation does not get to where it is now, to where it has reached. And I'm telling you, if a leader was on top of things, as I'm talking, 19 hours news, you would have heard that Commissioner General of the Correctional Service has been fired. You would have heard this. You would have heard that maybe 4 or 5 Correction Service police officers have been arrested by now as I'm talking. Because these crimes were not committed only by these 2 people, kwapwa. There must be people around. There must be people that are connected to these people. So, apatulela as we are talking now, we would not only have 2 people in custody. I don't know how many they have, but surely that Commissioner General would not have been discussing the 2 weeks holiday of the inmates, because he would have been fired. He would have been fired. Not that he is being fired, without... No. Because this case has broken out today, but it has been developing from a few days back. This person escaped from prison, committed crimes. They were looking for him, the police. Then they arrested him. But the Commissioner General is still there. He's still there. And all the other correctional service, whatever staffs, once now Malonda and everything is still the same. Everything is still the same. This story has not... We are heard of it today. But like I've told you, that even myself, I've heard it even before. I heard it even before, and I forwarded whatever information I got. I was forwarding it to the police. I didn't bring it out because because it's an investigation. When an investigation is going on, you don't have to just carelessly bring out things to social media. You have to be careful. So I was careful. I was forwarding everything to the police. So the story has been developing. This person has not... This inmate did not run away from Kobeko today. He ran away from Kobeko some time back. So if you ask for President Edgar Lungu to say, sir, you are in charge, you are the commander-in-chief, even the commission service is part of a correction service, is part of your job. What have you done? What did you do? Did you hear anything about this? I don't know if President Edgar Lungu heard anything about this. And for me, I somehow thank God. I get to know a lot of things. And some of these things before, let me tell you, some of these things before, I used to write my reports nalemba, na tumina wa intelligence. The office of the intelligence, vale some kusendama information nalemba, natuma. This is the report. Things used to move when we were President Edgar Lungu. When we were Satavalipo. When we were Satavalipo, things used to move. If he picks something, he will call you and he will question you. Since by Edgar Lungu Vaisa, nothing. No intelligence information. I've not seen one intelligence information that I have picked or that I have seen other people pick being acted upon. I have not seen. I know presidents receive intelligence information almost every day. I doubt Balungu wala verengana president na intelligence information. Because ngawala verenga intelligence, if he reads that intelligence information, some of these things he would be coming in, he would be more proactive. And let's face it, a number of times President Edgar Lungu has expressed ignorance on things that he's supposed to know. He has expressed ignorance. Especially those days when he used to move. By airport, question, you find that, he says, no, I don't know about, let me find out first. As a president, you must be on top of things. If you are not on top of things, that is failure as a president. It's failure. This, what has happened, losing nine lives in these circumstances, it's failure on the presidency. Especially that, the status quo remains in the correctional service. We would have seen some actions. If there was a president who is equal to the task, heads would have rolled as we are talking. Today, apanga turelanda, nganaba pia ba correctional service. Ngabali muchibe. But here we are, 9 lives gone. What are we discussing? We are discussing 2 weeks of holiday of inmates. That's what we are discussing. That is what our president has signed. He has no clue of this thing. Because if he had a clue, President Edgar Lungu today, he would not have signed that. Have you seen the coincidence? The day that he signs a 2 weeks holiday, that is the day a scandal blows up. When you have intelligence, when you have information, you can never do that. It can never be such a coincidence. It can never be such a coincidence. On a day you are signing 2 weeks holiday, that is the day a big news blows up that a criminal left prison, went and committed crimes outside. After committing crimes whilst inside. And that's a day you are being quoted having had signed 2 weeks holiday. Tell me if I'm being unfair. Tell me if I'm defaming the president. Tell me this is not true. Tell me these are not facts. Tell me these are not facts. Tell me what I'm talking about is not reasonable. You may be PF and you may not like what I'm saying, but tell me, isn't this a scandal for a country that on a day that the president is being reported to having signed into law that prisoners can go on holiday, that is a day that we are breaking the news that prisoners at a maximum prison were raping and killing women. And then, on top of that, we hear that these same prisoners managed to escape and committed crimes outside. Committed crimes inside, committed crimes outside. And the president is signing 2 weeks holiday for prisoners. This is Zambia we're living in. And if I say this is an indictment on the president, are you going to say, no, Tayali, you are bitter? It's true. If I didn't have a hiccup with a relationship, some of these things, not that I wouldn't know about them, but maybe I would not talk about them. But I'm glad that I have this kind of neutrality, because now I can speak freely. Now I can contribute on national affairs freely. And especially when I become mayor, it will even be better. Because when I'll be mayor, I'll have the legitimacy coming from the people, that people have voted for me. People have agreed with me to be part of the leadership. At the moment, I don't have legitimacy. But if you vote for me as mayor, you will be giving me legitimacy. You will be giving me powers to engage with those who are voted. President Edgar Lungu is voted. So, even when you are engaging him, he will tell you to say, what are you telling me? Where are you getting the legitimacy? Where is your constituency? But if I have a constituency, I will also share in their power, and I will be able to speak, firmly. So please, vote for me as mayor so that I can maintain this objectivity and I can be able to point out things as they are. I can be able to say, truly, like in this case, President Edgar Lungu, this is an indictment. This is an indictment. Talking about that law of two weeks holiday for inmates. Well, I've heard a number of people are concerned to say, look, these are criminals, and then they will go home for 2 weeks, and then you meet them in the streets and so on and so forth. I think we need to be sober when looking at national matters and human rights. We need to be sober. We don't have to be emotional. I do understand that actually this news has not come at the right time, because it has coincided with this big scandal of inmates running away and killing people. So it has not come at the right time, and you am not surprised that people are reacting in the manner that they are doing. However, I think we need to look at, on one side, the positive side of this law. And the positive side of this law is that, when you are convicted, it's not that you are condemned. No, it's not that you are condemned. So we need to be, the inmates must be also looked at as human beings. The inmates must be considered also as human beings. It might be, we might look at it, no, these are criminals and so on and so forth. But, I mean, they're human beings. And each one of us, it's possible that one day you'll be in jail. And at some point, you may wish you would be able to communicate with your family. You may wish you would be able to be with your family a little bit. So I think this law is coming in terms of looking at the human rights and trying to reform people. So there is something positive in this law, which we should not run away from. And if we find ourselves in prison, we might appreciate this law. There are people that, yes, out of different circumstances, they have found themselves in prison. Different circumstances, they have found themselves in prison. Some of them are not so bad people, but they have found themselves in prison. And they miss their families, they miss their children, they miss their wives. Surely, a 2 weeks holiday would be good. And I know that these 2 weeks, I don't think it will be given anyhow. No, I don't think it will be given anyhow. I don't think these 2 weeks will be given to, oh, okay, it's your time, like the way we do leave days. I don't think so. I think it will be administered properly. I think they will be looking at who can go home for 2 weeks. Because, I mean, how do you give 2 weeks to a criminal who can even run away? I don't think that is possible. I don't think that is possible. For somebody to be given 2 weeks atayekele kunganda and be able to come back, it must be a person that has been seen to have reformed, who is on the right path. So let us not be all negative and exaggerate this. I know the negative part of it, which I'll talk about. I know the negative side of this, but let us not exaggerate that and overemphasize the negative side, because you don't know, tomorrow you might be the one in prison. Especially this time around, where people are being arrested, even on petty issues, they are being arrested. It is very possible that you might find yourself in prison. And as a good citizen who, out of circumstances, you are in prison and you are a good person, I think it would only be good that you are allowed, to continue a healthy relationship with your family or your loved ones. So that is the positive side that I'm looking at. So let us not ever emphasize. I really want to beg you, citizens of this country, that please don't overemphasize the negative side of this. Look at it from the positive side as well. And the positive side is that, not everybody is as bad as like these criminals we are talking about. No, there are some people that are really, it is circumstances that have thrown them in prison. And respecting their human rights, trying to reform them, it might be good that they have, some good contact with their family. And I'm sure the prison service will be managing this 2 weeks. It will not be given, just like that. Anyone can go. No, I don't think it will be like that. So please let us be objective when we are handling national matters. My concern, though, is the time that President Edgar Lungu has signed this. That is where my concern is. My concern is that I don't think President Edgar Lungu, I don't think he has done this, in all good faith. He has a political connotation, because This time that he has signed, it's because he knows that prisoners are voting. Prisoners are voting. And that's why he has signed this at this point in time. He wants to win votes in prisons. So please understand me. I'm saying the law, I don't think I have so much problems with it, as long as it is well managed. But I have a problem with President Edgar Lungu signing it at this point in time, when we are in the elections. For me, that is a bribe on prisoners. Please get me clearly. I'm not saying the law is completely bad. No, there is something positive. But the time that President Edgar Lungu has done this, I don't think he has done it in good faith. He has done it to win political mileage, to collect maximum votes from prisons. That's why he has done it. And surely, this has been done without reflection, because look at even the coincidence. Look at when it has come out. When there is this scandal, that's when it has come out. Clearly, there is something wrong here. There is something wrong here. It has been done hastily, looking at the political benefit of President Edgar Lungu. And that's why it has blown into his face. It has blown into his face. It has come at a time when this scandal is coming out and people are reacting negatively to something that actually is supposed to be good. But the time that he has done it has messed up everything. Timing. When I talk about advice, this is what I talk about. You have poor advisors. This is what I talk about. Because the president is an institution. And as an institution, there must be a lot of people to give a take when something is being done. So the intelligence would have been involved. The advisors would have been involved. But because all these people, they are mediocres. All these people, they are mediocres. That's why we are having this. That's why this is blowing in your faces. If you were people that knows your job, people that are on the job effectively, this would have not happened. This would have not happened. But it has blown into your faces. You have done it coincidentally when the bad news is breaking, and you have people hitting back at you. You have a backlash. And I doubt you will get votes. You will maximize on the votes. Because yes, you might have prisoners voting for you. But I know a number of Zambians who will criticize this and they will not vote for you. If you do a profit and loss, I don't think this is a win for you. And if people are thinking through things, this would have not happened. It would not have happened. What should have gone out of State House today is a statement to sympathize with the families of people that have lost lives. That's what should have come out. Sympathizing with them and pledging to do the level best to correct the situation. And that statement shouldn't go just a statement on the State House headed paper. No, it should go with actions. Commissioner General for Correction Service should be out. The people at Mukobeko prison should be shaken. A number of prisoners, whatever warders, should be inside. That is what we call a government that is working. But apa ni picture no sound. Tabeshibe na pa kwikata. Tabeshibe. They don't know where to touch. It's sad. And at the end of the day, how are we going to be safe? How are we going to save? How is President Edgar Lungu going to assure us of our safety if we are even being killed by prisoners, those who have already been apprehended? they are killing people. How is President Edgar Lungu guaranteeing our safety? How? You put a lot of manpower to chase people who are on social media. Eh? Bakapokola are now busy for social media trying to see who is saying what about Edgar Lungu so that tumwikat. And yet people are being killed. You are busy looking at who is saying what on President Edgar Lungu. That's what you are busy doing. Force headquarters now, you say force headquarters now, they're just on social media. Social media, is to arrest those who are talking against President Edgar Lungu. You are neglecting more important duties of protecting the lives of citizens. The indictment is not just on Bakanganja. The indictment is also on you, by President Edgar Lungu. Is also on you. Sorry, I think let me buy some units. Namona ama units and ama. Forgive me, I was trying to get bundles. So basically, this is it's an unfortunate situation, and I for one sympathize with the families. They have gone through a lot, missing a loved one for such a long time, and then only to hear this kind of news. It's really sad. I sympathize with them, and I only pray that the government will do what is right in this instance. I can only pray that that President Edgar Lungu will do better than what they have done. It's really unfortunate. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. But I want to emphasize that when the leadership is not up to everything, we have such problems. Right now, I am sitting in a car. I'm using the light from the car because there is no power. There is no power, and I know there is no power in this area, Roma area. I know there is also no power in other areas. And this issue of power is something that we have been talking about for a long time. For a long time. And President Edgar Lungu has been assuring us, no, load shedding is going. Load shedding is going. And yet we keep having, power cuts. Call them whatever you want, load shedding or power cuts. They are rampant. They are rampant. I mean, I know even in developed countries there are power cuts sometimes, but our power cuts is just too much. It's just too much. It's like almost every week. In a week, on average, at least in this Roma area, those who stay in Roma area, they will bear witness with me that on average, in a week, we have 3 days of power cuts. 3 days of power cuts. And yet, you are singing songs, load shedding here. I mean, we are in the same situation. We're in the same situation. So what are you talking about? And I know it is not only in this area. I posted this on social media, and I saw a number of people commenting from different areas saying they don't have power. What is the problem with ZESCO? What is the problem with ZESCO? When I say Victor Mundende has failed, some people say, no. Hey, you are being what? You are being what? I mean, this is failure. It's failure. It's failure. ZESCO is no longer the way it was when we had the Avena Christos Mwansa. It's no longer the same. It's no longer the same. Even the ZESCO workers ngoaba kumanya. Bamoneka kwati niba teacher bakale, because ama teachers banomba, their life has changed, has improved a little bit. Though most of their money is going munkongole to the banks. But ZESCO workers, those days, muntu ngaibata bomba ku ZESCO. When I was growing up, muntu ngaibata bomba ku ZESCO, they used to be admired. Now, these workers, there is nothing to admire about them. And yet Mundende and his fellow directors, they are collecting sacks of money. At no, ZESCO is making losses because it has got huge expenditure. Of course, it has huge expenditure because the directors wafolera mumasaka. And yet, those who are lower there, abadonsama po, abekatama light, they are getting tukoto. So, efficiency is compromised. When people are not motivated, efficiency is compromised. And when the top management is just busy drinking tea, ukula umfobwino, apasondelanda, they are enjoying themselves. Meanwhile, takulia malaiti, there is whatever problem that is there. But for them, they are just busy enjoying. Mediocrity. It's a big problem. Frankly speaking, we need somebody that can bring in some energy in government. Somebody that can bring in some energy. Somebody that can shake things a little bit. That's what we need. There is too much laissez-faire. There is too much mediocrity. There is too much, lukewarmness. We need somebody that can shake government. I don't know. Somebody that can shake government. But President Lungu really is too laid back. Anyway, having said that, let me move on to the other issue. The other issue is COVID-19 and the campaigns. Again, this is a very, very important issue where we need to be very reasonable. We need to be very reasonable and we need to be very objective. And I want to start by saying COVID-19 is real. COVID-19 is real. And from what we have learned, what the scientists have told us, is that when it is cold, COVID-19 increases. And surely we have seen, since it started getting cold, COVID-19 has increased. The number of cases have increased, at least from those that they are testing. And I know that a number of people are not actually being tested. I know this for a fact. We had COVID at this house, and the people did AMA tests. Some of them AMA tests, they never even came. We had to do AMA tests to private hospitals and get the tests. From the government side, we never got the tests. My grandmother died of COVID. So there is a bit of a problem. But anyway, if we can rely on what we are being given, we are seeing that the cases are increasing. Cases for COVID are increasing. Amalight, I've seen now power has come. Katushinga ni finalanda po. Wa mundende batuma phone baasha amalight. Anyway, so we cannot ignore the fact that COVID-19 is there. I think we all need to agree this and then look at what we should do to protect ourselves and the lives of others. Yes, we need to campaign. Yes, we need to get into those offices. But please, my brothers and sisters, especially those in politics, let us look at this very, very seriously. Let us not bring in politics in the issue of COVID. Let us be responsible. Let us follow the guidelines as prescribed by, the healthy facilities and workers. Let us follow those guidelines. I have seen the number of statements that have come from different leaders. First of all, President Edgar Lungu came out and said, there will be no rallies. We must adhere to COVID-19 guidelines. A very good statement indeed, coming from the head of state. I commend him for that. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, like I said yesterday, the very moment that President Edgar Lungu is pronouncing that, his people are all over like swarms of bees. They are all over doing campaigns, having rallies, having meetings, including President Edgar Lungu himself, because President Edgar Lungu himself has not adhered to the COVID-19 guidelines. He has been busy going around, attracting huge crowds, including his nomination, including the launch of their campaign. What happened there at Mulungushi, much as there were a few people, but really, you can see that people did not observe the COVID-19 guidelines. Just there in Mulungushi, they didn't observe the COVID-19 guidelines. They are walking in with President Edgar Lungu. See how they are squeezed together. See how they are dancing inside Mulungushi itself. Then we had a big group outside Mulungushi. And yet the president is saying, let's adhere to COVID-19. And this is the president of a political party, the ruling party. The Republican president is issuing this statement, and these things are happening. We are talking like this. We have people all over the country. The vice president is busy campaigning with the new vice president. She's busy campaigning today. They are busy. They were busy in Western Province. Busy campaigning, attracting huge crowds. Before she left to Western Province, Vankandulo was, I think, in Kalingalinga. A big meeting. We are talking like that. Boma Nusambo is in the Copper Belt. Bulldozer. With huge crowds. We have got crowds throughout the country administered by the Patriotic Front. And yet the president is issuing these instructions. So now the question, like I had said even the other day, the question is it that the PF do not respect their president? That when he's talking, they just ignore him? Or is it that the president himself just play lip service where he says something and yet is encouraging his members to do the opposite? And this is why we have a problem now coming from the opposition, whereby today Mr. Hakainde Hichilema was talking about this. And he's complaining that for them they are campaigning, but they don't want us to campaign. I agree with Hakainde Hichilema in registering that complaint. But I want to say that two wrongs don't make a right. If PF is doing these things, it doesn't mean that UPND should do the same. I don't think that is right. Just because Edgar Lungu and PF, they are doing these wrong things, UPND should do the same thing. No, that is not right. One has to be reasonable. And that's what makes us different. And that's what makes us to be in opposition, to be the alternative government. Because we should show that we are doing things differently. We are no better than them if we are doing the bad things that they are doing. We are no better than them if we are going to be doing the very wrong things they are doing. We are also doing them. We are not going to be any better. So in this regard, I urge the UPND to be responsible and not to follow what PF is doing. I am sure Zambians are reasonable enough to see who is trying to be sober. And most of the times, these big rallies that these political parties attract, ferrying people in buses from different places, bringing them in one place, most of the times, according to what I've seen, they don't actually yield much a fruit politically. You have huge gatherings, but people go to vote, you get very few votes. So I think we can engage other means of campaigning than just emphasizing on bringing people together, knowing that we are endangering these people. Look at what happened in India. The COVID that overwhelmed the country came as a result of the elections that were there, when people were gathering all over. And it just spread all over that it was difficult for the country to contain the pandemic. We don't want that. Political rallies can be, can be at high spreaders, as they are calling it. They can be high spreaders. And before we know it, this country can be overwhelmed with cases of COVID-19. We don't have the facilities. We don't have the facilities. We don't have the medicines. We are struggling with our economy. Our economy is on its knees. We can't afford to expose our people and risk having COVID spread all over. So please, let us be responsible. Let us be responsible. Seriously, that's my take on this one. That's my take on this one. On President Edgar Lungu, I'm saying, look, can you walk the talk? When you say no rallies, can it be reflected in your members? Not what is currently happening. That is just lip service. It makes no sense. And since you are the president, since you are the ruling party, you are showing a bad example. You're showing a bad example. Baka Pokola, I saw a statement from Vakanganja. I sympathize with Vakanganja, and I don't want to criticize him much, knowing a little bit of what is in the background. I sympathize with him. He's saying, no, you should first go and get, a certificate from the health facility, whatever the health institution that is giving this. Then you come to us. I mean, that is just, it's as good as telling people to say, don't even gather. It's as good as how my politics. It's very difficult to do these things. It's very difficult. But I don't want to emphasize that. I don't want you to argue over that, because I think the best that we should do is ourselves as politicians to be responsible on how we are going to conduct ourselves. That said, I want to tell you about how I'm campaigning myself as Lusaka mayor. Me, I'm campaigning. This video is a campaign. I've got people that are listening. They are listening to me. You are the voters. I am talking every day. This time around I've changed. Before I was only talking on Wednesday. But now I'm talking every day. I'm talking every day because this is campaign time. I want you to hear me and hear what is contained in me, what kind of a person I am. I want you to know me. And I'm glad that you are watching. Thank you very much. And those of you who are in Lusaka, analyze me. Compare me to other candidates and see if indeed I can be a better mayor or I don't deserve to be a mayor. And make your informed decision. I see a lot of people saying no, and I'm posting a lot of articles. Or even those articles, I'm campaigning, but I'm seeing people to say, hey, you are just busy on social media. You are just busy on social media. See, I want us to say, are those people on social media, are they ghosts or they are human beings? Right now, all of you who are watching are human beings coming from different parts of this country and the parts of this Lusaka. So, I am campaigning. This is one of my means that I'm using to campaign, to reach out to people. I am talking, if this was a rally, it would be a very big rally. Very big rally. It will be a very big rally. But I'm having it virtually. Right now, I'm having a rally at 21 hours. I'm having a rally. And I'm having a rally every day. So, let us just be innovative in the way that we are going to reach out to people. Let us just be innovative. Let us go to radio stations. Talk to people on radio stations. I've actually even come up with another method very soon. More, you will see how I'm going to reach out. I've got another method that I'm going to use. A method that I don't even need people gathering around me. I don't need, because I also want to live. I've got family. I want to live. I don't want to die of COVID because I want to campaign. And at the same time, I also don't want to risk my voters, because ngamwamba okufuna COVID nishimwamba okucheperako. I'll be reducing the number, because those that will come to see Chilufya Tayali, they are those who love Chilufya Tayali. And when I gather them, they love Chilufya Tayali, they come around me, and they get COVID, they will die. PF tabakesoko nga bamufwa Tayali ukona alekwa Tayali, they won't come. Those who are voting for other candidates, they will not come. So, I am protecting my members. Don't tell me, hey, go on the ground, go on the ground. Let us follow the COVID guidelines. Let us follow the COVID guidelines. If you are innovative, if you are creative, you can reach out to a number of people using different means. Let us not bother Bamdala Vakanganja. Let us not bother him. Let us not fight with him. No, let us not do that. He has got a very difficult job. Nothing. I heard Bagarin Kombo saying, no, we will defer those COVID guidelines. We will go and have meetings still. I don't think that is very good. And all the time fighting with the police is not good for a political party. We should reduce on fighting with the police, because the police are just in between. They're just in between. The PF cannot, when they can't fight, when President Galungu can't fight, he sends the police. So instead of fighting with PF, you are fighting with the police, who are supposed to be your voters as well. Because Nawakapokola wala vote. So you are busy fighting Nawakapokola, making enmity with Wakapokola, who are voters. It's not good. Me, I don't want to fight with Wakapokola. I don't want. But most importantly, I want to protect the lives of Zambians. So pretty much, this is what I wanted to talk about this evening. I have to get inside. My wife is waiting for me, so I think I've given my point. It's sad that people have lost lives from inmates who are supposed to be inside, and I blame it on the mediocrity coming from government, from the PF government. If they are firm, some of these things will not be happening. At the moment, as we are talking, I strongly believe that heads should roll in the correctional service. Heads should roll. It shouldn't be business as usual. After 9 people were killed by inmates, an inmate, a dangerous inmate, running away from prison, it can't be business as usual. Heads must roll. Heads must roll. I don't know if the president can fire, but I think he can. I think he still has powers to make those changes. I think so. Then the issue of the 2 weeks, let us be reasonable. I think it is in the interest of human rights that it was initiated. Unfortunately, President Edgar Lungu has misfired by bringing it out during the time of campaign. So it looks like a campaign ploy, and it is coming out coincidentally with very bad news coming from the prisons. COVID-19 is real. Let us be responsible in the way that we do campaigns, especially the PF. President Edgar Lungu should walk the talk. He should not just be playing lip service in talking about these issues. He should make sure that his party, his members, they follow COVID-19 rules. Bakapokola, let us not fight with the police. They are human beings. They are supposed to be our voters. Let us not agitate them. Let us not fight them. Let us not injure them. They are human beings as well, with families. Let us consider that when we dare government. Because when we dare government, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to confront the police. But why should we be confronting the police? Why should we be hating each other with the police when we're supposed to be one and allowing them to be human beings with families who can enjoy their job? I don't think Wakapokola, they enjoy fighting with political parties. I think that's what I had to say. Good night. And remember, vote for Chilufya Tayali as mayor of Lusaka. Good night.